watching Glam Magic Empowerment Tribe TV. And I'm here today with yet another Dream Team expert and friend, Karen Dorsey, who is a divorce coach and mediator, which we know how tribal members really need help in that department. And we also met kind of magically, so I'd like to have you introduce yourself and tell the story of how we met, because I love it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you.
And it is quite an interesting story. I have been following Mary Beth during her entrepreneur journey. She would write blogs about her journey and the ups and downs of being a businesswoman.
Right,
and
with my makeup and skincare and being on HSN and the blood, sweat, and tears of that, yes.
Yes, and I just admired what she stood for. And I moved back to Scottsdale and I went online to order some products. And what happened was why we're here today. The website had a little glitch in it and I wasn't able to buy the products online.
Which happens occasionally, but not often.
No, it had never happened before, but there was a reason, I think. And so I sent emails back and forth, and Mary Beth said, well, you're here in Scottsdale, why don't you come to the spa and let's meet and I'll do a makeover for you. So that's how we met.
And then we did the makeup and that was all great, but then I learned all about everything you were doing, and just like this entire project, it was just like divinely orchestrated, where I keep seeing these themes with women and everybody is kind of like experiencing the same issues and problems, and I'm either trying to help and coach people or the coaches are showing up. And so when you told me what you do, I was like, that is brilliant, because I've never heard of a divorce coach, and having been divorced myself, it was a really long, drawn out process, and we'll talk about all of it. So first, tell me, why did you get into this field, or what brought you into it?
Yeah, and so my background is in counseling and therapy, and I went through my own unexpected and hard divorce several years ago. And through that, I realized that there was a gap in what women going through divorce, the support that they have. They tend to rely on their attorney.
And very bad advice, bad therapists, I mean, all around, but go on.
And so I made it my mission to become a mediator, a family mediator, and a certified divorce coach, because I wanted to help change the landscape of divorce for women.
I have goosebumps right now, because honestly, like in every aspect of the tribe, that we're just like breaking through barriers. We're saying, you know, this is a flawed premise. We're taking, you know, the whole construct and breaking it down and saying it's flawed, it doesn't work, and you do need help, you need support. You know, I know there's a lot of shame involved too when you're getting a divorce, and you're, like you were saying before, that your self-esteem plummets, especially, you know, in that whole arena. So talk more about that.
Exactly. It doesn't really matter the circumstances of your divorce. It could be that you're married to a narcissist and you're finally in the place where you're saying, I don't want to do this anymore.
And then you were saying the high conflict divorces where you're negotiating with a narcissist.
Exactly. The high conflict person that you might have been married to, and now you're going to have to co-parent with him, or you're going to have to go to mediation and make sure you get the best settlement for yourself. So there are all kinds of reasons why you get divorced, but what happens is that emotional part, whether, as you described,
you feel like you went through a windshield and you're not in the right mindset to be like making decisions, or, and it is true, who do you trust, who do you listen to? And I've noticed this with other experts, even talking about, you know, an unexpected death, or, you know, it's the same thing. You never think it's going to happen to you, but it's who you need a team. And that's why I created this whole forum, is for this exactly. So your goal is to show there's a better way to do divorce.
Exactly. There's a better way to go about doing this. And oftentimes what happens is that the first thing that we tend to do, and it's because we're in this awful, overwhelmed, emotional place, whether we're hurt, whether we're feeling guilty, whether we're angry, we're grieving the loss of this life that we used to have. It's not, it's gone. And yet we're expected to make these decisions and make sure that we're protected for the rest of our lives. How do we do that?
Right, and you were saying like women that may be professionals, you know, they may have every other aspect of their life like running really smoothly as a mother and this and that, but like this comes along, and are you prepared to like go to court against, you know, and you always have the best hopes and intentions, and you want to feel like it's going to be okay in the end, but you don't realize how far-reaching the consequences can be if you're not totally prepared. So
right. This is unknown territory. There are so many successful women, like you said, Mary Beth, who have had so much success in their lives as moms or raising families and having a home and a career. And then all of a sudden there's this unknown territory that they're expected to have the resources to navigate through.
Right. Well, and spiritually, you are like me, where we know that in life changes come, and a lot of times it's because you're supposed to learn and grow as a person. And you know, sometimes your relationships, like not every relationship is meant to last forever, because you're not attached to anybody. We're free, sovereign beings, and we're here to learn and grow. And that's the number one thing. And basically, you want to just be, have your emotional self be as protected as possible, so you can go through the stages in a healthy way and not be so derailed by the financial things or by conflict. And you know, you're trying to still be a single parent, and if you have all those other things going at the same time, it can completely derail your life.
Exactly. And the decisions that you have to make.
Back to that,
and
right?
How are you supposed to do that when you're dealing with?
Well, speaking of which, let's talk about, what do you think is the biggest mistake that women make when they're going through a divorce or beginning the process of going through a divorce?
I think the biggest mistake that women make when they're going through divorce is that they're allowing their emotions to drive their actions.
Exactly. They're just too reactive.
It is. And that's when you make bad decisions.
Well, and you said as a mediator too, you have all that background. So if somebody uses you as a divorce coach, if they go into mediation, they're a lot more likely to be able to settle there instead of the unknown of a judge in their mood on that day, all the things that could go wrong with not settling during mediation. But you prepare women. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you do that with your coaching?
Sure. So one of my clients, one of the things that happened is Lori went to an attorney, and I have to say that going to an attorney may not be your first best step. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use an attorney. Absolutely. Your attorney will give you legal advice. He'll tell you everything you need to know about what the consequences might be of the decisions that you make. But there was Lori. She called me and she said, I have this stack of papers that my attorney gave me.
All right.
I can't do this. Can you help me?
Wow.
And I said,
that's heartbreaking.
I said, exactly. I said, of course, Lori, that is what I do, is I help women get organized for the divorce process. She was so upset. So we sat down and we did that. And then I did pre-mediation coaching with Lori. She was going to mediation and she was terrified.
Wow.
And she didn't have any idea. If you've never been to mediation, how are you supposed to know
Right.
when you get in that place? And I see these women, they look like they've been, they're deer in headlights because they're afraid and they're scared and they may be dealing with a high conflict spouse who is going to.
Does it ever go smooth and nice?
It's really it can be a tough day. And I went through mediation myself, and I think that really drove me to want to become a mediator because I really understood I was unhinged emotionally when I was expected to go into that mediation and make good decisions about my future lifestyle.
Well, and when you really understand the laws and how it's all over the map in terms of what you can expect, like an attorney will tell you, well, you can hope for this, you can hope for that, but like, it's a crapshoot of how that's gonna go. It really is a crapshoot. And I have other experts that are all about changing legislation in these areas. I have a couple of our Dream Team experts that have crossovers, and they're really going up against, which I think is smart because some of it is just so incredibly unfair for everyone. I mean, we don't have to say like all men are bad. And,
Sure.
It's always the woman, but it's, how is this so vague,
It is, and it's so confusing. And I think that's one of the things I really recommend to my clients is to interview 3 attorneys.
Yes, I did that, and I said it should be a screenplay because if you could have seen the difference all over the map, I did the super expensive one, which, oh my God, it was all over the map, right down to the car salesman guy. Like I had all 3 levels, and I ended up doing mediation.
Sure.
Also, but it's not an easy task going through it. But let me ask you, how do you get women the best, or help them to get the best possible outcome from this whole scenario?
Yeah, and that's
from
such
the
a
divorce.
Yeah, and that's such a good question because it really ties into that allowing our emotions to drive our actions. It's really that same thing. So what do? I take women from where they are, and they could be anywhere. They could be in the should I or shouldn't I phase of divorce. And I'm not an advocate for divorce in any sense, but just to help them make the best decisions about what they want to do going forward.
Future lifestyle, that's good word.
Exactly. And so do you want to spend $300 to $500 an hour going to the attorney when you don't have yourself in a good place and you don't have yourself organized when you go to that attorney?
Right, like you said, you can help get everything organized so when you go, you're not going to be spending $400 an hour on stuff that you can do for less.
If you're going to tell the attorney your story over and over again, and you're angry, and you're overwhelmed.
Oh, the best divorce joke is then the attorney will be like, "You picked him," Like, I love that when people, it's just
Exactly, yeah. So wouldn't you rather be in a better place and spend, less than 1/3 of the money working with someone who is the expert, who will be your thinking partner, your advocate, who will walk down the path with you so that you can be sure you're not missing something that could be critical to your future lifestyle?
Well, and we're back to Gwyneth Paltrow and conscious uncoupling. Like, it would be nice with our tribe to have another solution to divorce that's evolved and, keep your vibration as high as you can while you're doing it and have the right coaching around you. You had talked about self-care being a big part of it.
Yes, and that's
not drinking every single night for 2 years. This is a common one that I hear.
Yeah, and it's so tempting, and it's so hard to remember. You really should put yourself first, and that's my first tip. If I were to give women a tip, take care of yourself think about eating right, exercising, just make
Being in nature is a huge one for me, like hiking, camelback.
Yes.
Because there's fairies out there and they totally heal your energy field. It's true.
And when you're out there, or you're in a yoga class, or you're meditating, hopefully you're not thinking about what your husband is doing.
Yeah.
You are focused on you. And I would say, go see Mary Beth. Go see these other fantastic
Get your
women.
hair and makeup
Get
done.
yourself in
So
a
powerful.
great place.
I'll say quickly, that was another inspiration for starting this forum, is having had another good friend go through an unexpected divorce with a 9-month-old baby. And she had been in getting her hair done, and I had done her makeup, and I was just listening to her story and I felt bad, and I said, hey, if you ever want to go out for drinks, like I'll go and have a glass of wine with you. And she's like, how about tonight? And so I said, yeah, let's go. And so we went out, and she looked so beautiful. I mean, her hair looked amazing. Her makeup looked so pretty. And I just kept staring at her. I'm like, oh my God, you look so great. She's like, I just feel so empowered. And I'm like, there's a lot of power in that. But also I have to say, my tip for women is to give yourself time to be on your own, and that, you know, if it takes a year or two or whatever, that you're on your own, like that is the most important thing, because if you skip that period of alone time, you're not ever going to heal. It's just going to postpone it, and it's going to postpone it. And some people codependently just never want to be alone. And my times that I have on my own are always the more powerful, where I feel like I'm really healing myself at a much deeper level, because we have lifetimes of issues accumulated. And even our partners that may seem like a terrible person, they're here as our teachers, and they've been with us in past lives. And that's why we have such huge bonds, is because even the bad ones we love underneath, you know, that's what I believe anyways. And we're here to learn and grow together, and to keep that vibe. Like you had said, even in our pre-production calls and our emails, you know, we wanted to keep this very positive and not be like bashing, you know, and finger pointing. And because we need to look back at ourselves no matter what. How can I learn from this? Because we can't control what the other person is going to do. We can only control ourselves.
That is so powerful. And what I see so often is women want to focus on what their soon-to-be ex is doing.
What is Facebook and all of the social media.
And that's another tip. Get off of social media.
I feel like so many people do it just to get back at their exes. And it's just, I think it's so smart to keep your private life private, because it's going to make people more angry on the other side, and that's not going to help your negotiating, you know.
Focus on you.
And
focus on what you have control over through this process. And remember, you know, now when we're going through divorce, we're now dealing with the business of divorce. It's going to be a business transaction. Wouldn't you want to deal with this as a businesswoman? You don't want to deal with it.
And you need a team.
And you need
an army. And honestly, if you don't, and you just go to an attorney, you know, the accumulation over the next 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, add that money up of what you could potentially lose, and think, you know what, if you have to sell a piece of art or something now, do it. Line up your team and make yourself the most important priority, because the other underlying theme of all of our episodes are worthiness and self-love. And so love yourself enough to be like, I am gonna 100% know that I did everything right, and not look back and be like, oh, I didn't, you know, do this or that, or I should have.
And it does take patience, and it does take time to go through this. So don't feel as though you're being forced into doing something that you're not comfortable with. If you're not ready for mediation, then let's get you ready for mediation.
Right.
Don't just go because they said you have to go to mediation right now. And that team, I like to call it a dream team. Put your dream team together.
It's true.
If you're in a complex financial place, you need a financial expert. You need a tax expert. If you're getting or giving spousal maintenance, you need to know the tax consequences.
It's a friend of mine, a businesswoman, is having to pay alimony to her husband. So it does go both ways.
Yeah, and the real estate consequences, whether you're going to stay in your home or whether you're going to refinance, whatever it is, get all those people who are experts. Do it ahead, do it before you go to that attorney. Get yourself emotionally in a better place so you can make really, really good decisions.
And it won't be as scary. Like, I love the fact that they can go to you and you have such a big heart and you have like this therapy side of you too, because you've been through it all. And so to have somebody that you can just go in and just, sit back and turn some things over and build up your confidence slowly until you're ready for the next step. Or maybe you work it out. Get back together.
Whatever, and that's been my mission, Mary Beth, is to serve women who are going through this, because I really, you don't get a do-over, right, in divorce. So
that's a good tagline. Wow.
So you want to feel as confident as you possibly can through this process and make sure that you know what your options are.
Right. And we're going to take you from that side to the other side of getting your glam back, because it totally helps. And while you're dealing with all that paperwork and stuff, you need to just come in and get your hair blown
off
and get your makeup done. Go off with our stylist, Leslie, who is amazing, and get some new clothes and reinvent your outer self to match your new empowered inner self. And we're going to keep giving you tons of tips on how to just build your self-esteem and how to stay strong and how to just be empowered in every aspect of your life. So thank you so much, Karen. I'm so blessed that I met you, and I'm so glad how everything lined up for us. And I'm just so excited to have you as a resource for our crisis relief team, which is our Glam Pow Magic Empowerment Tribe. So I'm MB York, and you're watching Glam Pow Magic Empowerment Tribe TV.